So hopefully you're going to be able to see what I'm doing here. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to create supporting work. Have you heard of supporting work before?
No, I haven't, no.
Okay, supporting work is like preliminary ideas that you can use to get to a concrete idea so that you can create an artwork from it. Let's say, for example, you want to make a painting. You want to paint a painting, right? You're not just going to start randomly painting without a reference image, right? Yes? Okay. So this is what this is. All of this stuff is preparation so that you can create an artwork. Okay, but the artwork has to come from somewhere. So let's say, for example, what artist were you interested in?
I really liked Salvador Dali.
Okay, so Dali. Let me just, this thing is, for some reason, okay. Black. Okay, Dali. Why is it not writing? Okay, now it should write. Dali. Okay, so what paintings which paintings did you look at of his?
I didn't look at any specific ones. So I don't have the names, but I would be able to find a picture of the. I don't know if I saved it, but I actually should have written down the names. I didn't write them.
Okay.
I'll just go again now, and then I'll get like a full list and make them all together because I didn't completely understand what we had to do.
Okay, no, it's actually really simple. Before you can choose an artist, okay, that comes second. Before you can choose an artist, you first have to choose a topic. You looked at those three topics, right?
Yes.
Okay, so which one were you interested in?
I wrote it down. Opposites.
Opposites. Okay. So if you look at Dali's work, right, there's a bunch of, how can I say it, paintings that will actually work perfectly well for Dali's work, okay, when it comes to opposites. Because what he does basically is he shows the real world versus the dream world. And that's opposites, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's one way of actually approaching this entire thing. If you take your world, which is the real world, and you create a sub-world from it or a dream world where anything is possible, then you've actually used Dali as inspiration. Okay, so let's say opposites. Okay, and you want to use Dali there. Then you can also look at that painting, Metamorphosis of Narcissus, for an inspiration, because what it shows you there is you've got that figure which is reclining, right? And it's looking at itself in the water. And then opposite it, but it's very realistically painted. It's actually quite realistically painted. But then right opposite it is that's also a reclining figure, but it has a hand, and the hand turned into an egg, and there's a flower coming out of it, right? Which doesn't happen in this one. You see, so that is an opposite reality. The one changes into something else. So you can use that painting, but then there are so many other paintings that you can use as well. There's that desert landscape, for example, which looks quite realistic, but then in the background, you've got elephants on stilts. Okay, so that is where the dream and the reality sort of merges. Okay, so what I want you to do is, if you select this idea, I want you to come up with as many possible interpretations of the word opposites as possible. And I don't want you to necessarily pick Dali from the start, because Frida Kahlo works for this very well as well. Okay, she also does the whole opposites thing very well, and they both are surrealist painters. So there are some of their styles that overlaps. Okay, so you can look at both of them.
I don't hear what you said there.
Say again.
They're both.
Sorry, both of them are surrealists.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah. So you can, you can look at both of them, okay, as influential artists. But then let's say, for example, you discover a painting of Kahlo, right, that suits the theme much better. Then you can scrap Dali, okay, and you can run with Kahlo as your influential artist, okay? But you first need to start taking photographs, okay? of things that you think represents opposites. Okay. And this can be anything. It can be like you versus your brother. There's a very good opposite for you because you guys don't look similar. Okay. Even though you come out of the same household, you don't look like each other. So that's a really good idea for taking a picture of opposites. And it's not just, I mean, that your gender is different, your facial features are different, your hair is different. So that is an inspiration that you can already take. And let's say, for example, you take a picture of you and your brother sitting next to each other. Then you can look at the painting of Frida Kahlo, the two Fridas, okay, where she paints a portrait of herself and herself sitting next to each other. And the one, well, both of them have hearts that are intertwined. That shows that they are basically the same person, but also dissimilar. Does that make sense? They share. Okay, so you can, for example, recreate this pose by sitting next to your brother, where you wear the same clothing, but your facial features are different. And then you've used Carlo as your influence. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you need to do before you can do anything else. You need to start taking photographs of things that you think represents opposites. Okay, is that a little bit more clear?
Yeah, I think I know what to do now.
Okay, so
I just had another question.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if this is probably going to sound weird, but like, say now I use like Frida. She obviously did surrealism.
Yes.
But would it be like completely changing it if I paint something that's like surreal, but with like the post-impressionism technique?
No, not at all. You can use any technique you like. That's why you were exposed to so many. But you use the influence of the artist. So their subject matter, for example, or the way they constructed a layout, or the way they did their composition, or you can use their style, you can use their technique. You borrow from the artist, okay, but you make it your own. So you're not copying the artist. That's not the idea. You are using influences. Yes? So let's say, for example, you like the way that Frida Kahlo dressed her figures. Then you can dress your figures in a similar way, but you can paint it in a let's say, a pop art way, or you can paint it in Cubist or whatever you like. Okay, but you need to justify why you've done that. Okay, so if you want to use expressionism or pointillism, you need to justify why, because, I mean, it has to add to the painting. There has to be a reason behind it. Okay, so let's just recap. If you, let's say, for example, this is your A2 sheet, right? Then you need to write your theme in a corner somewhere. You have to say that this is A01. And remember, A01 has a back as well. Okay, so it can go over to the back. It doesn't, everything does not need to be on only one side of the sheet. Okay, it's for good reason. The more you put on here, the more reference you have to choose from later. Okay, so let's say, for example, you chose Frida. Okay, and you chose the two Fridas and as your inspirational artist. And she was a surrealist, but she painted, let's say, in a Fauve style. Okay, she painted in a Fauve style. Then you've already got you've got your subject matter there, you've got your influential artist, and you've got your medium and technique and your style that you want to use, right? Okay, then you've got all of that. But now to add to it, you have photographs that you have taken. Okay, let's say of you and of your brother, and of you and your brother together. Let's say of your mum and your dad. Okay, and then your mum, dad, you and your brother together, and then you discuss. This is where, this is like really, really, really important. The annotation bit. Do you know what annotations are?
Probably not by definition, but I don't.
No, annotations are descriptive notes. It's almost like when you do an analysis. Let's say, for example, this one is of you and your brother.
Okay.
Okay. Then you say, you can just give it a title like My Brother and I, and then you can say how this image relates to the two Fridas by Frida Kahlo. Okay. So you're going to discuss what is similar about the image and why you have selected it specifically. Okay, why, when, where was it taken? So those are important questions to ask. Okay, and that is what's going to go into your annotations. And really, really important as well is annotations need to go next to every single image you take. Every single image, every single picture you take needs to be annotated. Okay, because you need to prove that there's a reason you put it in the first place. It can't just look like a little ad hoc picture that you just put in there just because. Okay, you need to show your reasoning, your thinking. Okay, that's the entire purpose of annotation. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Okay.
Okay, now let's say, for example, you loved the photograph of you and your brother sitting together. Okay, and this is on the front part of the AO1, right?
Sorry, man, the mic broke up again.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the connection. So, sorry, you said, for example?
Okay, so let's say, for example, you love the photograph of you and your brother sitting next to each other, right? And this was now on the front of this AO, okay? Then you can say, okay, I'm selecting this image, and you're going to go over to the back of your AO. Okay, this is still the back of AO1. Then you're going to put that picture there again. You're going to stick it down again. And you're going to discuss why this picture. Why is this picture the one that you've selected? Okay, and you're going to put that image of Frida Kahlo, you can put it back there again, the two Fridas. And you're going to say, how does these two relate to each other specifically? Okay, and then you're going to look for different ways of posing you and your brother. And those compositions will then go on the back along with that image. Okay, so different compositions. And it's good if you have a minimum of 4 compositions. Okay. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay. So I hope this helps. Would you be ready to show me something by Friday, or do you think it's not going to be enough time for you to get something together?
I can try and see what I'll have by tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll try and get some ideas so long, and then I'll see.
Yes.
There's just another thing also, the paper that I have, the A2 paper.
Yes.
I haven't checked what grain it is yet, so I don't know, because I don't have acrylic paints, I've only got gouache.
Oh, that's fine. You can work with gouache for now. Remember, you can use different mediums. The idea is not to stick to one medium. So you can use painting and acrylic paint. You can use oil paint, gouache, watercolors, whatever you have. Okay, you don't only need to use, and even now at this stage, what you can do, which would be really, really excellent, and it will score you great marks, is if you leave a little space open on your A2 somewhere, right? Just leave a block open. I'd say no larger than A5. Okay, and that space, I want you to do an observation drawing. Okay, so you can use pencil in that space. Have your mother, for example, or your brother sit still for 10 minutes and do a quick sketch directly onto your A2 sheet. It shouldn't be something that's cut out and pasted on later, directly onto that A2 sheet. Okay, observation drawing. Because this shows confidence. It shows that you have the confidence to work directly on the surface that you're going to submit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, like I said, it can be in pencil, and it's an observation. And you don't need to do this immediately. You can, like I said, leave a little space open, let's say at the bottom of the page, and you leave that for later. Okay. Okay. Good. Is there anything else that you're unsure of that you would like to know?
Okay, thanks, Mom. And then
Sorry, your speaker is breaking up terribly.